big books in front of her, who knows what is coming. So which sutta are you introducing today?
According to what they wish.
Samyutta Nikaya, right? Samyutta Nikaya 20.1 we start.
Thì chiều mà ngày con nghe từ sự Samyutta Nikaya 20.1經啊，即係叫 Uta Sutta，就是烏支經啊。
The roof peak, the big roof.
就是烏支，就是迄個厝頂第一關啊，迄個伊個像啊，我咱家食迄個粿枝啊，頂面迄個叫烏支。
And the good thing about this chapter in the Samyutta Nikaya, many of the suttas are very short, very brief. So just if you read them, probably 1 minute, 2 minutes, you can finish a single sutta, but it still have some interesting meaning usually.
本地講即個經咧是真短啊，真簡單。比如若是落去讀即個經，有可能真一兩分鐘都讀了。比伊個意思啦，是真正有意思嘅。
So the sutta starts out by providing a bit of context where the Buddha was staying at that time. At that time, the Buddha was dwelling in Savatthi, in Chetas Grove, another medical spot.
迄時咧，寫做呢大啲遮打巴，就是阿那達比利加嘅紅尾嘢。
And then the Buddha addressed the monks, spoke to the monks, and said to them, Bhikkhus, just as all the rafters of a peaked house lead to the roof peak, right? The rafters, they're all connected to the peak of the roof, and converge upon the roof peak, and all are removed when the roof peak is moved. So too, in the same way, all unwholesome states are rooted in ignorance.
迄時呢，佛寫陣甲比丘們講啊，你講比丘們啊，都上較有一間迄個烏支嘅厝啊，你看啊，無論伊個內面的迄船木，船木就是伊個迄個 rafter 迄個船木啊，迄個兩邊的迄個柴來支撐迄個烏支嘅柴啦，就是個 beam 啦嚇。
Without the support of ignorance, unwholesome states cannot continue. Yeah. Without the support of ignorance, unwholesome states cannot continue. Can you translate?
So 即個烏支啦，伊加了即個船木啊，即個船木加了是趨向嘅烏支嘅，伊加了是趨向烏支，了伊回歸於烏支，伊加了是接去迄個烏支，伊終於止於烏支，伊停喺迄個烏支嘅位，了他伊人嘅加了都是為上一個架構，上一個厝嘅架構咧，了。
The unwholesome states are rooted and cannot exist when ignorance has been removed.
相款的，伊講比丘啊，若是有任何的無信的法啦，unwholesome無信的法咧，加了都是因為無明的即根本啊，即無明根本，因為即無明啊，伊嘅歸處。了，伊本以無明啊作為伊個迄個終結處，即個加了都是歸於無明嘅，無明是伊個重要嘅根啊。了，若是即個烏支啊，若是伊倒落來嘅話啦，了即個船木啊，加了都會塌落來，看。
Can you translate it to English also? What you have just explained? What is the content?
If the roof collapse, so the rafter will collapse too.
Okay. Wow.
Have you mentioned that?
Quite long. Yeah, already mentioned this.
Yeah.
Okay. Then in the end, the Buddha summarizes. There are 4 monks. You should train yourself. We will dwell diligently. We will practice diligently. In this way, you should train yourselves. Diligently for what? For the uprooting of ignorance.
了寫陣甲比丘們講咧，安尼款咧，阮比丘們就應該安尼款訓練家己啦，有人愛精進愛精進就是不放逸，就是diligence 就是另外一個意思就是阿爸媽家大家講咧不放逸，相款嘅面面啊。只要伊講比丘們啊，有人應該安尼款來訓練家己。訓練家己蝦米咧？訓練家己咧， 放下即个即个解脱即个ignorance 就是即个无明啊。
You can compare it maybe to the root of a tree. If you don't like the tree in your garden anymore and you want to get rid of it, it might not be enough just to cut off some of the branches because the tree will continue growing, right? Even if you cut off the stem, you might still come up another shoot.
像反对讲，就是比如咱像一丛树啊，你看你无事干，你家斩去了会枝甲了诶，甲是斩去了伊诶主干啊，伊本是会生起来，会生起迄个嫩芽啊。
Particularly bamboo bushes, bamboo trees are very difficult to remove, aren't they? Even though you cut them out at the bottom, they will still start to sprout again.
反对讲，特别是迄个竹诶树啊，真艰苦斩。你斩了伊到下底本，伊本会生起伊个新诶丛来。
That's why we have to remove them with their root. The root is under the ground. Often we have to dig it out together with the entire root, and only then it will not start growing again.
就是因为安尼款咧，我人就爱除去伊根系啊，伊根啊，就爱规个挽起来，安尼款伊袂再搁再重生。
So ignorance is like the root of the unwholesome states, from which all the other unwholesome states will also come out, like jealousy, stinginess, desire, aversion, hatred, greed, arrogance, conceit, and so on.
反正讲即个无明啊，即个无明就是即个根啊，即个根就是爱规个挽扭起来。反正伊即个无明了伊本有其他的种种的导向，即个无明，像是自私啊、骄傲啦，个种种反正讲迄个头仔的迄个自大啊，甲是看不起人啊，即个种种的即个导向都是无明的一个显现来。
So the Buddha is pointing here to the root of the problem, which is ignorance, rather than just always trimming the foliage, and then it comes up again, and then you have to cut it again, and next season it sprouts again. It's never ending.
So 佛世尊呢，伊直接的讲起即个无明啊，即个无明的艰苦起初就是因为你加合甲去了，伊会生起迄嫩芽，你暂合甲伊边仔了，伊根迄边会生起来本的。
And it's the practice of the Noble Eightfold Path. That's the tool we use to overcome ignorance.
我人就爱用即个八正道作为我人的即个工具来实行安尼看我人把愈会解脱即个无明。
So then, my question for you: if somebody has uprooted ignorance and has become an arhat, would he or she still have to practice sense restraint or mindfulness so that new desires don't come up, or no need to practice sense restraint anymore and mindfulness because already removed? What do you think?
反正问大家，若是讲一个阿拉汉，伊有即个无明啦，了伊是毋是需要去修持即个sense restraint，就是即个感官的即个修持感官的即个原理啊，甲是修持即个 mindfulness， 即个正念啦，安尼款互即个无明清楚的拔除。
Which one do you think is true? Does he have to practice mindfulness and sense restraint? Or even without mindfulness, also he would be okay, he would not indulge in sense pleasures?
你想安怎？是毋是伊爱修即个mindfulness 的正念，甲是即个五根享受的即个原理
It's a very hypothetical question because an arhat always has mindfulness, so there's no way for him not to have mindfulness. But nonetheless, even theoretically without mindfulness, he would still not indulge in sense pleasures because the underlying desire, the root for sense desires, has been eliminated, has been uprooted. So he doesn't have to restrain himself it's natural that we will not indulge in sense pleasures, in aversion, same thing.
或者讲，互一个阿罗汉来讲啊，伊本地家己都有真正够的迄个正量了的，了个有一个迄个睡眠啦，就是 underlying tendency 啊，迄个睡眠对即个五金享受的睡眠啊，伊本无了的，所以伊无可能啊，会再去沉溺，甲是进入即个五金的享受内面。
The same for aversion. When somebody says something rude or insults the Arahant does not have to be very careful. Let me not say something bad in return. Let me choose my words carefully and not be rude in return. No. Naturally, there is no anger in him. So he cannot be offended, he does not take it personal, whatever the person say. So he does not have to be very careful because there is no anger to begin with.
相反的，互一个阿罗汉来讲，对嗔心啊、嗔心啊，hatred 就是即嗔心来讲，伊本无安尼款的即个嗔恚的心了的。所以，就算人讲一句话无合听的话本啊，伊本袂讲防止，用即个嗔的方法防止，因为伊本身内面都无即个反正讲无即个 anger 啊，袂生起来了的。伊无即个身体的即个因了的啊。
For most normal people, right, somebody says something to you, and then you feel the temperature rising in your body and the tension coming up, or you should scold him back in return. Yeah, you have to restrain yourself if you want to not say things that later you might regret. For the other hand, you don't need even to restrain and be very careful because you naturally will not become angry.
但是互普通人来讲啊，若是别人讲了一句无好听的话，了你心就会热起来咯，你 temperature 就会起哦。了就想讲爱讲多对一句话，去服伊啦，去反击伊啦反正破阿罗汉伊无安尼款的亲心了的，伊无需要讲爱去特别讲去训练这方面的训练。
So for the rest of his life, he doesn't have this problem anymore.
所以即世人内面伊无即个问题了。
The Buddha gives a simile in another sutta about how complete the defilements have been destroyed at their root.
了伊讲反正讲世尊咧，伊另外一个经内面有讲，若是即个根甲了清除了的时伊都无即个烦恼。
Let's again come back to the simile of a tree or a plant that keeps growing, always growing more, and you want to get rid of it. So again, the first step would be you cut it out with the root. You get out the root from the ground. It's the first step.
上款的角度对来头仔迄个树丛但是你一丛树丛你无爱了，你爱斩下甲去了。尼款第一个 step 咧，就是第一步咧，你爱做的，就是将迄个树丛的根规个甲伊挖起来啦，给拔除。
Once you have all the roots taken out, you hack them into pieces. You take an axe or a machete, hack the root into pieces so that they cannot grow anymore anywhere.
即个根压起来了，佫着甲伊剁做脆的款互伊袂佫再生起来。
Then you put the pieces together and put them on fire.
了，即规堆的即个根剁出的根了你甲伊烧。
But then now still have the ashes, right? The ashes from the roots that's remaining from the fire. Then you collect the ashes and sprinkle them in the ocean. You drive over to Penang, Bukit Barisan, and sprinkle them into the sea.
了，你烧了那根伊嘛有花咯，了你花有可能野去你去槟榔迄海的位你甲伊撒伫大海的位。
Do you think that tree will start growing again?
你认为讲迄个树丛佫会生起来无？
Impossible, right? How can it start growing now? Only ashes. Not even roots anymore there. So, not possible. this way for any unwholesome states to come up anymore.
反正講這是無可能嘅啦，就上加迄個無善嘅法啦，伊袂個再升起來了。
So in the same way, once the defilements are destroyed, it can never come back.
就是安尼款伊若是去毀滅去了，伊就袂個再起來。
Some teachers, just to add a little note, not in the suttas, not in the commentaries of the Dhamma, but sometimes contemporary teachers in Buddhist countries, they say an arahant can still have defilements, but it does not identify with them. It does not take them personally. It does not say, oh, I am angry. There is anger, but no identification. There can be desire, greed, but no identification. This is the view that some acharyas may have.
但係講唔是講對經啦，但是根本唔是對論章講嘅啦，這是世俗嘅有嘅先生嘅安尼款講啦。伊講一個阿羅漢伊雖然講伊證悟了阿羅漢，伊講人講即個阿羅漢伊有可能佫有迄個未清除的即個煩惱。萬尾伊講咧，萬尾阿羅漢咧，伊當即個煩惱毋是伊來的，伊無確認講即阿羅漢，即個煩惱是伊是知爾，知有安尼款的物件起來爾。
Because the arahant has understood the notion of self, and he has clearly understood that there is no self to be found in the five faculties. So clearly he cannot identify with the abyss, even the unwholesome state.
因為一個阿羅漢伊是無我，伊個心內是無一個我咧，根本就是伊會證了阿羅漢伊就會看穿即個無我，就是因為無我，伊無可能認為即個是我的了。
So you can say, well, there can arise desire or aversion in the mind, but he does not take it personally, he does not identify with it. It's just desire, not my desire. There's aversion, but not my aversion.
有可能伊有一個即個desire，就是即個上愛啦。但係伊袂講即個上愛是我的，伊是知了有安尼款的上愛，但是有安尼款的情生起來，但係伊甲伊無關係，毋是伊。
Does that match with the simile of the tree and the uprooting and burning the ashes? Does that match or not?
不得問看啦，安尼款的講法啦，甲頭仔講的迄個樹長的迄個撇論是會 match 哦，兩個會合起來哦。安尼款的講法會合哦。
Not really, no. According to the sutta, it says that defilements cannot come up anymore. It's not the desire can come up, aversion can come, and then they don't take it personally. The Buddha already said it has been uprooted. How can it come up even? It cannot even arise. So this is the very point that suttas like this are making. That it's uprooted. That there's no possibility for that tree to grow again.
但係講法就是像我頭仔講嘅，像是未合啦，是哦，即兩個像是未合，因為即個貪愛即個心伊 uproot 規個挽救起來了啦，伊無可能佫再升起了嘅，所以安尼款嘅講法像是無安尼啱安尼款咯，
So with the help of the sutta, we can identify maybe that perspective is not quite correct in terms of the understanding.
有即個術來互我人做即個 reference 我人會看到講會分別啦，會分別。安尼款的講法，像是無對佛的這個假釋。
Otherwise, the Buddha would say, with the uprooting of ignorance, unwholesome states can still arise, but just don't take it personally. But this is not what he said. 無咧，若是毋是咧，佛世尊有可能講咯，即個根佢挽起來了，萬面迄個上愛即個享受安尼伊本會升起來。Okay, so I think it's good enough for today. It's a little reflection that we also know what is the goal of the path that we are walking. What is that's the destination of an Arahant look like.
但係講埋你講到即個應該是夠了咯，我攞邊啲講布達講嘅即個辦法，即條路啊，正實行嘅即條路是安怎嘅咯？即個經就會幫助你去了解咯。
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.